All right, everyone. My live stream, of course, was interrupted, but I figured to make a couple of one-offs here. You know, no reason to hold the news over if it's not really going to be new news tomorrow. So I wanted to talk about this. This is something that's not really newsworthy, but I needed to cover it because it's so friggin' funny. Link in the description. This is my response, actually, to somebody else's post on Twitter with regards to Mike Pence. He was campaigning a few days ago in New Hampshire. And he didn't get the warmest of receptions. In separate news, Mike Pence has about 1.2 million on hand for his campaign, but he holds almost, actually a little bit more than half of that in debt. So his campaign is basically broke. As far as a mainline campaign top down, I've warned of this for months. You can't really swing it unless you can get a lot of donors in. Mike Pence does not have a lot of donors. He's basically dead in the water. Trump, meanwhile, raised 20 plus million in the last quarter or the last month. DeSantis raised a few million. Certainly Nikki Haley's raising millions. Mike Pence, meanwhile, he's like, hey, I got $500. Everyone, look at me. I'm such a winner. There's a reason you're in now, I think, 5th place nationally and falling in the state polls. With New Hampshire, though, I would like to point something out. I was born in New Hampshire and lived most of my life in Vermont. These are the two most shitpost-friendly states in the entire union. So if you're going to show up, you will probably get heckled. Even if you're reasonably popular, there will still be somebody who tries to throw glitter on you or splash you with confetti or something like that. It's just sort of the way that New Hampshire and New England, northern New England at least, the non-Flatlander states tend to work. Mike Pence was heckled relentlessly here. And in this video, you'll see, and you should definitely watch it because it's fucking funny as hell, an individual from New Hampshire say, well, Mike, you should come out of the closet. It's National Coming Out Day. And so you should come out and admit that we're gay for one another. And I admit that my John Deere is not as big as yours. And basically making a dick joke. And Mike Pence does not know how to deal with heckling. You can tell because of the stony look on his face. He's like, what the fuck is going on here? I showed up for a Mike Pence event. Why is there somebody here who doesn't like me? And he doesn't quite understand that. And I thought that was like the greatest thing ever. This is one of the greatest elements. This is similar to in 2016. You remember when Ted Cruz was campaigning? Now, Ted Cruz has partially redeemed himself. Like, he's sort of a missing link MAGA Republican, I suppose. Again, he's looking a little bit like Obi-Wan Kenobi if Obi-Wan gained 30 pounds and was not a hermit so much as a gourmand or something like that. But you remember one of the funniest things there was the fish shake joke, where somebody apparently, he went up to Ted Cruz and he gave him the fish shake, which basically is like, you know, Ted Cruz reaches out to shake his hand and he shakes his hand off and then starts wiggling it around, and that's considered funny by some people. And it was funny to me because Ted Cruz not long before had gone to the, the Iowa State Fair or something like that and talked about cows made of butter and weird shit like that and was being cringy with his kids, and he just stood out like a sore thumb. He wasn't personable, and that was the problem. Ted Cruz at this point, at least he's fucking redeemed himself. Mike Pence, not so much. Talking about his big John Deere, his penis, and so that is definitely the name of the game. And I thought that was hilarious because, you know, Mike Pence has some sexual hang-ups. Quite clearly, he decided not to, even a week ago, I think, to talk about sleeping with his wife, and apparently considers this a heroic venture. People thought that was insane. Coming from, again, like the evangelical, like moralistic side of the GOP. That's not generally the kind of joke that you're going to make to your constituents. They're not going to find it appropriate. And there's a reason, again, why Mike Pence is in 5th place. And this is one more of those reasons. He gets heckled, and he doesn't know how to deal with it. He just freezes up completely and barely even becomes responsive. He just sort of sits there and takes it and, you know, gazes off into the distance Bush style, as though he doesn't know what's going on, like a deer in the headlights. Which definitely for people in northern New England is a thing that they're familiar with, generally speaking. Shit, I better pump the brakes here. And yeah, so Mike Pence, to be clear, I don't claim that Mike Pence is gay. I claim that he is just easily flummoxed and he doesn't really know how to deal with criticism, because generally his stops are carefully curated so that the 12 people that arrive are rock solid, absolute lock, stock, and barrel. They're for Pence, or at least for the Republican Party in general. If you get one maverick at any of his stops that acts like this, he doesn't know how to react. And that's really another thing. If you're going to be a politician, you need to know how, spur of the moment, to react to heckling. You need to know how to react to loaded questions. You need to know how to react in a debate. Mikepence is quite clearly not that individual, and anyone can see it from his reaction in this particular clip. So, yeah, Mike, you know, anyone shy at this point of Vivek Ramaswamy really doesn't have a reason to remain in the race. You've basically got four people. You got Trump, the presumptive nominee, almost inevitable nominee. You've got Ron DeSantis, the second placer. You've got Nikki Haley, the ascendant third placer. And then you've got Vivek Ramaswamy, who basically is like Trump minus Trump in the more real sense than DeSantis is. Anything below that, there is no viability. Chris Christie is basically just, I don't like Trump. Mikepence is basically, I work for Trump, but I don't like Trump. Tim Scott is basically, I'm Trump if he were more religious. I mean, I'm not seeing a whole lot of talent at the bottom of the barrel, and Mikepence is definitely, he's basically the floater at the bottom of the barrel. He's the one that attained equilibrium and now floats a little bit below the surface, and but he never actually manages to surface at all. Very sad man. Poor dude. That's about all. Peace out.